Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, and I've started early this morning so that way I can go to work today. So the day has started. The sun is starting to come up a little bit. I know this is going to be dark for a minute or two, and you might hear Tashir and Solomon barking their plan in the back. All right. So we have a government shutdown, and I keep hearing these Republican MAGA representatives saying that it is the Democrats' fault, that they're trying to put in legislation for illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants, to get the medical care they need. The only part of that would be emergency care. And if you've got a problem when you have legal migrants, okay, legal migrants working with their families here and they have a medical emergency, you think they shouldn't be seen at a hospital? They're not getting the doctor visits, your yearly things that go along with your medical care that is government funded. But if they need stitches, shouldn't they be able to go to the emergency room? I'm just saying. But in my opinion, the only reason that we're shut down is so that way they don't have that 218th person to sign on to release the Epstein files, period. While this shutdown is going on, Trump is fine with it. He's using it, and he even stated this in one of his posts, that he's using it to cut Democrat-funded groups, organizations, departments, programs, whatever. And he's bringing in someone who is definitely from Project 2025. And so all of you who argued with me in those early videos last year when I talked about Project 2025, and you said, well, he said he didn't know anything about it. Well, it's there. It's here. And he's going forward with it. He's loving the shutdown. Trust me. He doesn't care if it hurts you or me or other humans, people. He doesn't care. You know, there's this question: are you constitutionally a patriot, or are you a treasonous loyalist? That's the only two things you can be at this point. You can be a patriot to the Constitution, or you can be a traitor, treasonous, and a loyalist to a criminal king. I mean, there's just no other way to say this. There really isn't. I kind of have my own little conspiracy regarding the Tylenol thing. Did Johnson and Johnson decide not to make a deal with the criminal king and Booby Kennedy? Is that why they're going after acetaminophen or Tylenol, the brand name of acetaminophen? I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. Because doctors definitely do not agree with what he said about it. It doesn't cause autism. You see, with the autism, the spectrum has widened, has broadened, has lengthened from Asperger's, which is very close to one end of the spectrum, to very profound autistic. And normally the profound autism cases are combined with other serious mental and physical problems. So you have one spectrum to the other, and they're just putting it all together and saying that acetaminophen is the cause. No, they're saying Tylenol, because I would almost suggest the conspiracy that Johnson and Johnson would not make a deal with the regime. I mean, wow. Constitutional patriot or treasonous loyalist. You know, your Republican representatives have sold you and me out and their souls out, probably for wealth, promises of power, because they too have the agenda of making this a white Christian nation. You see, there are so many agendas that are in play right now. The white Christian nationalists, the white supremacists, or I would say Nazis, if you wanted to get truth about it. Um, Groups that are militia in style. We see the bounty hunters, which I believe a lot of them are January 6ers, which were criminals who attacked the Capitol and police. You know, there's conspiracies about all of the FBI agents, and they bring that up too. When Kash Patel said there were only 200 and some FBI agents sent in once it started, they didn't start it. They didn't bust through the windows of the White House. They didn't try to get into offices, deliberation rooms, pooping in the White House. Those weren't FBI agents. You know, the MAGA shaman, he wasn't an FBI agent. The ones that were put in jail were not FBI agents. The one-eyed guy that shot his own eye out, that people follow. I guess he's a Proud Boy? No, maybe. I don't know. They're so proud, little boys. So there's so many different groups that have pulled you in for the vote to get their agendas going. And Project 2025, everybody wanted to argue that, oh, he said he didn't know anything about it. He's a criminal. He's a liar. He's a con artist. And he's enjoying your pain right now. So I'm just going to kind of read through some notes I have if I can see them. He is a convicted felon. He is guilty of sexual assault, which is adjudicated rape. He was Epstein's customer, accomplice, and friend. He is in the files. Refusing to release. He's refusing to release these files. So he's happy with this shutdown because he can not only take over and cut programs and care from our country, but he also has the Speaker of the House not sign, swearing in that 218th seat vote to release the files. I mean, you've got to understand this. Seriously. I mean, there is no way that even if I were MAGA and I was following the criminal king as a treasonous traitor or treasonous loyalist, would I believe his lies about not being in Epstein's files at this point? He ran on that. He also ran on lowering prices, which he has not done. He claims to have. You know, eggs were down to $2.99 a dozen from last week. But that's a whole different thing. That's not about him. That's about having the proper amount of chickens, laying a proper amount of eggs, and egg producers not charging you an arm and a leg because of that's what they did a year ago. Okay? I mean, maybe someone had a talk with the egg producers. I don't know. He is taking from the poor working class, us, who pays taxes, in many different ways. When he cuts food subsidies to people who are hard workers, then they have to be able to afford from their bills to buy food. They can't rely on a food pantry twice a month to let them have a little relief on their grocery costs. Gasoline has not gone down. It's still $3.29. So there's two topics that he ran on that he didn't do for you. He didn't lower prices. He made them higher. And he didn't release the Epstein files. That's two things that are very important, right? I mean, a lot of people voted for him on that. Cash Patel, man, him and Bongino, or what, Bongino, didn't they claim that they wanted him released because of the people on the list before they were a part of the FBI? Have you noticed they don't talk about it anymore? Because they've probably been threatened. You know, it wouldn't surprise me that Donald and possibly Russia had connections that have killed a lot of people that have turned up to be suicides. I'm just saying. Because Russia has a lot of information regarding Epstein. Okay? There was collusion with Russia that was found to be true. Even though he's going after his enemies with the most corrupt DOJ I've ever seen in my entire life. Trumped up charges. So he's rigging things now, right? He's cheating the system. He's unconstitutionally deporting, detaining people with bounty hunters. I mean, I'm just saying. Now, he claims that he's made $17 trillion on this tariff thing. Okay, well, number one, the money, if it was 17 trillion, is coming from people who have imported the products to be sold to the consumers here in our country. So the money, the 17 trillion, has come from us, capital U, capital S, consumers, importers. Where is it? If we were what, 47 trillion in debt, that would take 17 trillion off the debt line, and then we would only be what, 30 trillion in debt. And if that continues every so many months, then we should have a surplus of money after that's paid off, right? Oh, no, 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 no. Because they've allowed him to do more spending, and he's allowed to cut from what's already been allocated to be paid for. He's cut and has taken that back and put it into the bounty hunters, his trips, bringing all the generals and admirals, flying them all back in, 20 billion to go to Argentina. who has actually undercut us by selling soybeans to China and such. I mean, it amazes me that if MAGA supporters, the voters, the people, us, we the people, if you still support what is going on, how far does it have to go before you understand what everybody was talking about? He's constantly dividing us, talking about how horrible the Democrats are and lying about Democratic representatives, lying about what's going on in Congress and the Senate. I still go back to blaming our SCOTUS. Always will blame them for this. No guardrails. Presidential immunity for things that are absolutely treasonous to our country. When I watched, first of all, I watched Hegseth demean and humiliate admirals, generals, our military leaders, over 800 of them, after they flew in from all around the world. Some of them said they felt like sitting ducks. Some of them were so disgusted by what they heard. Hegseth does not have the best record, the best military record, the best record for running, like, what is it, the VFW or some sort of army vet kind of groups. He bankrupted them. He's a drunk. He's manic. And he has no idea what honor is about. And neither does Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a draft dodger. And yet he goes up and talks to these guys like, well, if you don't like what I hear, you can leave, but you're going to lose your rank. You're going to lose your benefits. You'll be fired. This is a reality show. He's producing a reality show that harms the people that are paying for it. We are in a reality show. He told you how bad Biden economics were. Then he says that we are a wealthy country. He's running us like a country, like a casino that he's going to bankrupt, because that's what's going to happen. And everyone that is loyal to him will be paid off. They hope to be paid off, because if we ever get control, people are going to be held responsible for being unconstitutional, treasonous to our country. We can't let this go. And I would ask MAGA supporters, MAGA voters, how far are you going to be okay with this going before you stand up and say something? I've seen MAGA influencers that were so Biden this, Biden that, down with Biden, eating an ice cream cone. He was demented. He had no idea what's going on. Have you read or listened to Donald Trump speak? I have over 25 years experience with dementia and Alzheimer's. And I can tell you that when I listen to him, he's still on the campaign. He's still using campaign strategies as speaking to the country that he is supposedly the leader of. But he's divisive. He blames the radical left lunatics for things that are, number one, not true. Number two, delusions that are just whacked out and crazy. And then he twists things to make the radical left lunatics responsible for the actions of those who are following a whole different agenda when they're trying to assassinate him or assassinate Charlie Kirk or bomb, you know, I, I don't know. It's crazy. And killing innocent people on the border of Venezuela. I've never heard it mentioned but once about the two ships or the two fighter jets that were lost into the ocean, destroyed. We had to pay for those again, right? Okay. Why is it so hard for MAGA supporters to listen to truth? Because propaganda is easier. It's easier for you to listen to what this delusional, demented old circus monkey tells you than to look it up and say, that's just not quite right. But when he spoke to the leaders, the military leaders, and he spoke about putting military into the cities for training, these military leaders should be patriots to the Constitution that they swore to. They should not be treasonous loyalists to a leader. Uh, if they follow through without dissension, we're screwed. The military is our last defense against the criminal king and his corrupt, corrupt administration regime. I'm hearing him. He's so funny. He calls his girls out, yeah, every morning. Of course, he's got up early the past couple mornings. Normally, he sleeps in. All right. So, when you watched this thing happen with Hegseth and Trump speaking to our military leaders, did you not understand why his presentation didn't work with them? Do you understand why, when he made it a campaign rally, that those military leaders sat there in silence? Do you understand why they didn't applaud Hegseth or Trump? Because they can't. They shouldn't. And they are the only defense that we have now. All right. Our poor farmers, they're going to get bailed out, right? With some of that 17 trillion. Well, where is it? Where is it? Did he steal it? Or did he lie? Those are the only two answers to that. Y'all have a great day. Hugs from a distance. I need to get ready for work. I'll see you later. I love you all. Take care.